Major support for these broadcasts is provided by the CUNY TV Foundation, New York Community Bank, Kilroy Architectural Windows, New York's window company, Capital One Bank, Perfect Building Maintenance, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Geneva Burns, Gian Tomasi and Webster, M&T Bank, the Wickoff Group, Chelsea Lighting, Greenberg Traurig, LLP. Additional support is provided by Ackman Ziff Real Estate, AKA Hotels, Corman Communities, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi, USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Colliers International, NYC, Cushman & Wakefield, DDG, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Dime Savings Bank of Williamsburg, Eastern Union Funding, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Herrick Feinstein LLP, Hersha Hospitality Trust, Investors Bank, New Banks, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, James Orphanides, Centurion Holdings, John Katsimatidis, Red Apple Group, Margolin Weiner and Evans, Madison Realty Capital, Meridian Capital Group, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, Popular Community Bank, SJP Properties, Sterling & Sterling, Stonehenge Partners, Urban American, and these friends.
They call it apparel. They call it textiles. They call it shoes. I call it schmatters, okay? But the apparel and textile business continues to survive. There's even products made in America, which I'm going to show you. So today, since I've left that market many years ago, I have assembled truly a ridiculous and incredible group of professionals to talk about what's happening in the apparel and textile market in New York City. My guests, they include Harry Greenberg, who's a senior partner at the accounting firm of Friedman LLP. Charles Mizrachi, who is the president of Weisner Products Mystic Combination. Alex Garfield, who is the proprietor of Piece of Cloth. And last but definitely not least, the person who provides them the money so these products can be sold and make a profit, my friend J. Michael Stanley, who is the managing director at Rosenthal and Rosenthal Factors, or Rosenthal and Rosenthal. So Harriet, since you and I have a couple years on a couple.
Go back the longest.
Okay, go back. I like it that way. Go back the longest. What has happened in the last 30 years and today in the apparel and textile world? What has changed?
There's still a big business in New York. Apparel textile is probably the third largest employer in New York. They employ probably 5.5% of the...
A statistician, huge, I didn't know this.
It's huge. It's just different. When we started in this business, and I started in accounting in the apparel industry, there were factories in New York. They're all along 39th Street, 38th Street.
The push carts, you know.
That's not here anymore. What's happened is that's moved to the lower cost providers. It's moved to China. It's moved to Bangladesh. It's moved to Vietnam. And what's left here is the intellectual property, the design, the creative, the money, the stores, the talent is still here, and that continues to be a part of the New York business. So the apparel business is not dead, it's just changed.
So here's the question. Your company, which was founded originally by your father, I believe?
Yes.
So how has that changed in the 30 years or more that the company's been around?
Actually, the company started in '71, so we've been around for a while. My dad used to manufacture slippers domestically. Had two factories in Long Island and in New Jersey.
Right, he had something in Babylon.
Yes, exactly, exactly, West Babylon. And probably close to 1988, when I joined my dad, we went into the importing business, ran a parallel with the domestic business, but within 2 to 3 years, we just closed down shop.
Now, we were saying prior to the show about that the retailers are having a major effect on all of your manufacturing and on all sides. And, you know, and I like to be educational because people look and, you know, you go to the store and there's always this tag on it that says a certain price. But nobody knows what the price should be. I mean, it's like my wife saying, I'm not going to buy there. I know that it's going to be cut by 50%. What is the traditional markup that from the sales ticket to the reality?
Well,
And
there are
we
a couple
talk-
of different buckets that you put that in. One is the deep discounter, which will sell the retail price at the low price. And today they are no way under 50% and as high as 72% margin. And then there are the mid-tiers, JCPenney's of the world, Kohl's, who go in at about 75%. Out the door is about 50% of ticket.
So let's, you know, when somebody sees a shirt, I don't care who the manufacturer, it could be something that you manufacture over there, and it has a price tag of $40. It costs the store approximately $10?
Yes.
So, and they make the determination of when they want to cut down the prices, but they know that at the end it's $10 maximum cost?
Yes.
Or they go back to you, as we used to say in the trade, it was $10 since the vendor is going to manufacture over there. But where are you manufacturing? I mean, you have so many products, you know, you have in the footwear, and then you have in the apparel business, and you really have licensings. Where are your major plants today?
We're about 95% manufacturers from China, and the balance, I'll say 5%, vary from Pakistan to Bangladesh and to India.
Now, Harriet, you were saying prior to the show that a lot of you've been seeing manufacturing in different places, more Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India.
When people first started to go overseas, they were manufacturing in China. That was the largest labor source. It was the easiest for them, most favorable. And now, because Chinese labor is getting more expensive, transportation is also expensive, you see them gravitating to other countries, like Viet Nam is more popular now. Bangkok is a huge manufacturing center for things like costume jewelry and precious jewelry. So they're going to different locations. They are expanding across the world to wherever the cheapest labor source is.
Money man, do you mind where something is manufactured?
Not specifically. We're more concerned about the cycle, who's bringing it in, the quality of the product.
You know, I go back many years with Rosenthal and Rosenthal, who happens to be the world's largest private independent finance company over there. But how do you make a determination that you want to do business with Charles or you do business with Alex, who we'll talk about? How does a young manufacturer, which is something that we were talking about before, who either manufactures domestically or internationally, how do you make the determination that you want to help finance that type of
Well,
business?
we look at the companies. There are real human beings like these two, handsome gentlemen.
Don't make it that
Okay.
comment about that answer.
No, but it's true because they're the ones that are actually, driving the bus, if you will. And
For an explanation, people hear the term factoring. What is factoring?
all factoring merely is, it's a form of asset-based lending coupled with the outsourcing of the management of their receivables.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. So you're going to help me and my group. Over here, this is a product from Piece of Cloth. I am not going to be wearing it because I'm not the one.
It wouldn't fit you.
It might fit. Come on, you would have brought over here. But what I really am so happy is because on the label it says "Made in New York City," and that's a big situation. Made in New York City, and also it's a nice thing because there's a piece of the money is going to the American Cancer Society. But I think the idea is this is manufactured today. 30 years ago, there was a lot manufactured today. Alex, how much is manufactured today? How many people are like Alex and doing this type of business? And who do you sell your products to?
We have a myriad of specialty stores. For the last 20 years, I've been manufacturing on 39th Street.
Do we have little Jewish seamstresses still? I mean, with the schmatas?
You know, they changed a little. They're not the Jewish and Italian.
If you go into my factory, you might think you're in Hong Kong. A lot of Chinese,
Do
but
we have sewing machines?
yeah, sewing machines, the whole Megillah. And our business continues to grow because the apparel that we make seems to be safe for the segment of the population that purchases it. We sell to Neiman's catalog, to Nordstrom's, and fine specialty
I
stores.
saw her on eBay. You're on eBay too.
We are.
Yes.
Well, somebody might sell
Secondary
their,
market.
Somebody secondary market.
I hope they get fine dollars for it.
Okay. No. Now, who do you sell to? You sell to everybody?
We sell from the mid-tiers, which consist of JCPenney, Kohl's, down to the dollar stores, and everyone in between, a Walmart, a Kmart, a Target. One of my divisions do sell upstairs, the Dillards, the Neiman's, but it's a whole different business.
Now, so on that type of product, where are those products made for the
China.
It's China.
Yes, we do use leather skins from Italy, but even that has become very challenging. So we went to a few China mills, and we are now using the leather from China.
The big question, and I always ask this question, and I don't want to put it in the same category, but it's similar. I always said when I do my restaurant shows, and I have these restaurateurs who open up all over the country and around the world, I said, how do you keep the quality? I mean, I did the life story of Bruce Bozzi, the Palm. They have 28 different restaurants. You know, how do you keep the consistency? How do you keep the consistency that that quality product is manufactured because you have a sourcing company that's over there? Do you have people there physically, full-time workers?
Yes, we have six offices in China. We have over 120 people, and what we really like to focus in on is staying with the same factories. And even if they're a little more expensive, we want the quality, we want the delivery, and at the end of the day, if we sell at the right price, the retailer will sell it, and they'll just come back to us for more business. And it's an easy growth pattern. It's just a question of if you do it right. If you become greedy, you're going to lose.
Now, how big of a segment in general, and I think this is interesting, and you can also say in the financing and Harriet, how big of a segment is the dollar stores? I mean, the dollar, I mean, the $1 stores.
Discount stores?
No, the dollar, the
Dollar General.
The Dollar General, the Family Dollar stores.
Yeah, Dollar
the store,
Tree.
the Dollar Tree, under $20 items. How big of a segment is that today of your business, would you say?
Of my business, I would say it's probably a third.
And that's growing, isn't that
Yes.
growing?
It's
Yeah.
thriving.
That's
It's not only
thriving.
growing, it's thriving.
Yeah, they are opening stores. They're opening chains every year. Dollar General will
600
open up.
new stores.
No
700
problem. No problem. Dollar General is actually trying to open up closer to 20,000 stores, and they tell the media that, hey, we're only in this many states out of 52, and so be it.
Harriet, you were talking before about, maybe the world has changed in New York, when Alex was here and he's been manufacturing for all these years, in a manner that maybe we don't manufacture physically here, but we design over
That's
here.
correct.
And we have the talent pool, we have the Parsons, we have the FIT, we have the pillars, we have the mics, we have the
We have
other
the stores, we
the
have
stores.
everything, yes. So it's not going to go away from New York. New York is still the mecca of apparel. Just different people are going to do different things.
How does a young manufacturer, a young person who has a vision, okay, here's established. How does somebody who said, I'm really a designer, I want to do this, and they come to you, how do you help them? How can you give them advice? I mean, because maybe you need to introduce them to a Charles who knows the source over there, or a Mike in the finance. How does that happen today?
We laugh about it. We see this all the time. Michael and I are members of something called the Fashion Service Network, which are service providers to the fashion industry, and we support a lot of FIT students, and they come to us. They're newly graduated designers. They have excellent credentials. They have wonderful skills, but they don't have business sense. So what we do is we hook them up with professionals to help them start their business. We introduce them to finance companies that will support them, and they grow slowly. and it's possible. Also, they partner up with people in the business who've been around a long time, who recognize talent and are willing to do the back office and the business aspect of the business, which they're deficient in.
Okay, here's a question. These are nice quality merchandise, which will be retailing for like $300 for this,
The
correct?
jacket, yeah.
Now, what about something, can we manufacture a low-price product in New York City? Can we have a made in New York City when it's a low price ticket? Or is it really financially unfeasible to do it?
You can get to a point where if you go too low, you cheapen the product. The fabrication is a big part of it. We can find fabrics that won't survive in our market, so we can't use them, and they have the price.
A number of months ago, on my other show, Building New York Life Stories, I did the life of a woman by the name of Renee Greenstein, who has a product line that I believe some of them might be manufactured domestically, not in New York City, and most of it's outsourced to China or anywhere else. And she sells on QVC. And the QVC world, I mean, since you're older than us, you know, there wasn't a QVC. I mean, how much business, how many manufacturers are surviving on QVC? I mean, there are different changes.
It's a customer. QVC
Okay.
is a customer.
And it's
like
also
every other
direct
customer.
from the manufacturer.
Yes.
You don't have a middle market person in there. If you're selling directly to QVC, they work on a certain margin, and it's not nearly as high as 7%.
So wait, is QVC the retailer in this situation,
Yes.
or are they?
Yeah.
They're a
They're
customer.
the facilitator.
Like everyone
But ultimately,
else.
the vendor to QVC, whoever goes on the particular show, they arrange the ship direct to the consumer. And it's a great platform, and it works.
Now, do you like financing a QVC? I mean, because, you know, if you're on QVC, and this woman told me, give her a half an hour, okay? She could sell more tops and bottoms than anything around.
It's a customer.
We do. We finance millions and millions of dollars that go through QVC and HSN and the other.
And they glamorize product
Yeah.
on those shows.
They move a lot of product.
How important is the internet today in the business of the apparel and textile?
It's important. It's going to be more and more important than bricks and mortar. People are driving dollars that way, and companies recognize it. Almost all of our clients have internet sites that are capable of doing commerce. There are people who set out warehouses that are set up specifically for the e-commerce distribution. It's not
I'm very
going away.
excited about ours,
Yeah.
the way it's going to be developed.
So how are you going to do your
I
e-commerce?
have a tech friend who's coming on board starting Monday. She's going to feed the e-commerce site that we're developing on our web pages and also our Facebook page.
See, a lot of people utilize visuals, okay? You know, I mean, you can try it on. I mean, I don't think you can try on a
There has to be a
try
good
it on.
return policy.
You can try it on online. They have virtual models now. If you go to sites like
Even for my body? Okay?
Your sexy body is not a
Yes,
problem. But they do. Nordstrom's, if you go on Nordstrom's site, you can put in your measurements. They have a virtual model. And that's something that all the retailers are going to follow to make the customer more comfortable. But like Alex says, the return policy is significant. So if
Very
something
lenient.
ships out, maybe they get, you
About a
would know
third of
this,
the
comes
third of the
back.
items, whether it's apparel, footwear, get ultimately returned.
A lot of your products, Charles, are licensed names. How important is the consumer with the licensed names? I mean, you have the branding.
Well, there's two parts of licensing. One is licensing a character, and one is licensing a brand. Calvin Klein versus a Dora the Explorer. They're all important. We try to balance our
I mean,
distribution
you
out.
have Cherokee.
Well, there's a bunch. That's a private label brand that we
Right.
used to sell to Target.
But you have Dora the Explorer, you have Disney,
Yes,
certain different
and
products.
yeah, Marvel. Each division has its own brands. They are very important, especially to a segment of the business such as the Marshalls or TJs that want the brand for obviously a better price than most of them because that's their forte. It's about a third of our business
Now, why do you say a TJ or Marshalls want the brand?
because that's their motto is brands for less.
Brand driven.
Okay, so they're brand driven, but the product, okay, you may have, because you're a quality manufacturer, you may have a product that says Dora the Explorer or Disney on it, And the consumer doesn't know if it's made by Wiesner Products
No.
or anyone else. It could be made by someone else.
Correct.
But they think of Disney, they don't, because it's a brand.
Right.
It's generally more a quality product. Brands have quality control, and the customer is getting value, perceived value.
The consumers are very brand driven, and they want a brand and they want value. Okay,
And
which
they want the styling, and they want the fashion,
Yeah.
and they want everything in one.
that's what drives the sales.
Drives
That's
the
what they
sales.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Now, where do you design your products? Here in the,
It's a great question. We actually have a design studio in Shanghai.
as opposed to what Harriet was saying about,
Yes.
I mean, do we send the FIT students over to Shanghai or?
We do.
What we have is well, each one of my divisions has its own designer here, and then we set up a design studio about 4 years ago in Shanghai. I have 2 Americans that live there, and the rest are local Asian designers. Unfortunately, I could get 4 of them to 1 American in salary, and if the retailer continues to push us on price, at least I could still make the money I need. Otherwise, I'd have about 50 designers here, and it will never work.
Okay, there are certain people who are in the manufacturing business, and this is a question for all of you, where they have their own stores. Is that still?
Of course.
Is that still becoming a
It's
product?
the best kind of
Many do.
advertising.
Well, a lot of times it is advertising. It's a cost. As
It enhances
opposed to
the
a
brand.
Profit center. It does enhance the brand. Significant dollars involved in doing that, and not everybody should. Do
I mean,
that.
I did a couple. Last year, I did a retail show on retail. I had Hippolyta, the jewelry manufacturer, who basically, she's in all the department stores. She's over there.
Judith Ripka, which there are a lot of people who follow that model, but it's a difficult model, and you have to be really sophisticated to do it well.
And you have to be well capitalized.
You have
Very
to be
well
very
capitalized.
capitalized, and you have to have a certain mass of stores. I mean, we finance Steve Madden. They have over 100 retail stores, and Diane von Furstenberg. And
Coach is the best,
Coach.
people like that do
There's the
it
pop-up
excellently.
shop also.
Oh, that's
That's
true.
what we're planning on doing, in different large offices around the city to
Do
start.
we have the new Stola brand?
Yeah, we can do that. We'll put your name on the label.
With
Why
the
not?
suspenders, I wanted,
We
the
can sell
brand
those
is pretty good,
suspenders.
I like the suspenders, Nobody brings them into me, the suspenders will be okay. But, it's a different segment. The world has changed. How do you see, when we were talking the dinosaurs that we are over here, you called me Jurassic Park. I don't want to, okay? What do you see in the affecting the apparel industry? Where is it going to change in 10 years?
It's continuing to evolve, and I think there's a paradigm shift.
Okay, and
The consumers are very smart. The retailers are extremely demanding and tough. As both of you know, how challenging.
and the financier isn't?
No,
Oh,
it's a very competitive world for us, Mike.
It's going to be
And
more
we have to,
consolidation.
We're selling a commodity. It's money.
So you,
There's going to be consolidation is going to continue. The
Yes.
stronger are going to get stronger. There'll always be small boutique players who find a place for themselves with a certain type of consumer. But I think the world is going to change.
do you believe in your business, which is mostly importing, do you believe a small new person could go into the importing business, or is it?
Very difficult today. You need a lot of money behind you. You need systems. You need manufacturing. Today, one of the hardest parts of our business is sourcing. We really have to find the right factories if we want to expand. The retailers do all kinds of checks. There has to be social compliance. There are testing from here to tomorrow.
I remember, there was always this product, with clothing fire, flame retardant.
Yeah, that's in
What-
sleepwear.
Still
sleepwear.
there. Still
That's
there.
still required.
Lead testing is a new one that
Yeah.
came up a number of years ago where there's certain
What
lead
about-
content
What
that
are we
can
doing,
be.
shotness testing?
Now
The
with the,
phthalates.
the problems with Walmart, I don't know if you've read about this. There were 2 factories that had significant problems overseas, and Walmart pulled their those brands out of their stores, and they've now said that they want to start aggressively targeting manufacturing in the USA, and they've allocated something like $50 billion to
You know
that.
what? But
Over the next 5 years.
Over
Okay,
the
but
next
but
5
you
or 10
bring up an
years.
interesting thing. Walmart wants to have products manufactured in the USA. Okay, Alex has said, you know, it's very hard to make a low-price product in America. Charles knows it's next to impossible to make a product like that. How can you manufacture the Dora the Explorer in America that's going to sell at Walmart for $6.99?
Very
They didn't
interesting.
specifically
Okay.
target it to apparel.
Yeah, very
Okay,
interesting.
so it could be other products.
But it's also going to be apparel.
It has to be some of it. It's
It has to be some
Right,
apparel.
it's going to be apparel, it's going to be shoe, you know.
So the smart people are the people who are going to figure out how to do that and
It's products
satisfy
that
Walmart.
require a low
Right.
labor component. Okay, so it's mostly fabric, and the fabric, in most likelihood, is going to come from Asia.
So that's interesting. So they're gonna manufacture it here, but the sourcing of the,
The raw
product,
materials
the raw
may be
material will be made somewhere else.
That is
okay,
correct. That's
so
correct.
so
That is correct.
the shirt, the cotton isn't coming from America. It's going to be just sourced over
Your
here,
fabrics
correct?
are made where?
Most of my fabrics are from France and
Mm-hmm.
Italy. But what we do more than most people is that we inventory what we know is the right fabrication because we've tested it. And a store can just buy a few pieces from us, let their customer tell them what they like. 2 weeks later, they can buy as many as they want, thousands of units, and we could ship it in 2 weeks.
I remember when I was much younger that, you know,
A long
working
time
at
ago.
this is the last time you're invited back. To the show, too. Okay.
I'm much younger than
okay,
all of you.
you
so
know,
I
I
don't know.
remember, you know, buyers would come up to this place that I worked at, Hartfield Zodi's. There were buyer days. Okay, you know, there was. Is that still?
Yeah,
buyer-
next week
Still
is
there.
Fashion Week
Still
here in New
there.
York.
Right.
And it's epic. It's the most fun. Fashion Night Out is one of the most fun nights of the,
So,
of
you
the
know,
year.
somebody, you know, you bring it up. One of my colleagues, young colleagues, said to me, "Why don't we create Real Estate Week?" You know,
They do
create.
have it.
Okay, no,
They
but
have
then-
shopping center
right.
expo
They
in Las Vegas.
ISCI.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
but
have
I
it.
mean, Fashion Week has really helped New York City, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
this has become a major phenomenon.
It's unbelievable.
Because New York City is a fashion capital, I think.
Capital of the world.
perhaps
They
of
have
the
them
world.
all over the country now.
Not only
Like-
Fashion Week,
Yeah.
but all the shows. I mean, if you get a list of the shows that are in New York, there's a show every month. ENK
Right.
runs how many this
Oh,
month
Coterie,
alone.
Coterie is next
Coterie.
week
They
also.
must this
Accessory
week
Circuit.
alone they must have run 5 shows in New
Right.
York. Still happening.
So
But this week is Fashion Week. And I had the honor of being at NASDAQ with Carmen Mark-Falvo yesterday.
Isn't
Oh,
that
nice.
exciting?
And to ring the closing
you rang
bell.
the bell.
Carmen did.
Who was Carmen?
Carmen Mark-Falvo. He's one of our clients. He's a very famous
Manufacturer?
dress
Special
manufacturer.
special occasion
Special
dresses.
occasion.
Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful.
And where's he manufactured?
Carmen largely makes some product here domestically. It's a luxury brand, but he makes most of his product also in Asia.
So in conclusion, we're saying that the apparel business, both domestically and internationally, is surviving. New York City is still and will always continue to be, for many years, the fashion capital of the world. Business is going to be here. It's a little tougher to deal with some retailers. And I'd like to thank Harriet, Charles, Alex, and Michael for being here, and I'll see you next
A
week.
pleasure.